Confidence is not an external validation. It's not something you get from others, but something you build within yourself. The moment you start seeking external approval, a compliment, a like, a word of encouragement, you hand over control of your self-worth to other people. This is a fragile foundation for your self-esteem because the world is unpredictable and people's opinions can change in an instant. This kind of validation-seeking behavior is a deep-seated addiction in modern society, where we are constantly conditioned to measure our value based on how we are perceived by others. When your self-worth is determined by external forces, you become a puppet, and every critical comment or lack of praise pulls your strings. This reliance on external validation is a profound form of self-sabotage. It prevents you from developing an internal locus of control because you're constantly looking outside yourself for proof of your value. For instance, you might not start a new project because you're waiting for someone to tell you it's a good idea. You might not speak up in a meeting because you're afraid of being judged. This behavior is rooted in a fundamental lack of trust in your own judgment and abilities. When you seek validation, you're not actually growing. You're simply reinforcing your dependence on others. True confidence is the ability to move forward with a decision, knowing you have your own back, regardless of what others think. The path to authentic self-confidence requires a radical shift from seeking to cultivating. Instead of chasing external praise, you must start to cultivate an inner sense of worth. This means doing things for the sake of doing them, not for the applause they might generate. It means pursuing a project because it is meaningful to you, not because it will impress others. This internal validation is far more powerful and sustainable. When you finish a task you set for yourself, the feeling of accomplishment and self-trust is an energy source that no one can take away from you. It is a quiet, powerful knowing that you are capable. To break the habit of seeking validation, you must begin to practice radical self-reliance. Start with small, deliberate actions where the only person you are answering to is yourself. For instance, make a commitment to yourself to finish a book, to run a mile every day for a week, or to learn a new skill. Do this for the sole purpose of proving to yourself that you are a person of your word. This is how you build a powerful, unwavering sense of self-trust. Each promise you keep to yourself is a brick in the foundation of your confidence. That is the number R. The opinions of others become secondary because your own inner knowing becomes the primary source of your strength. Ultimately, your worth is not up for debate. It is not dependent on your achievements, your appearance, or your popularity. It is an inherent part of who you are. The moment you stop looking for external validation, you stop giving others the power to define you. You reclaim your autonomy and begin to build a fortress of self-confidence that no external force can penetrate. This is not about arrogance, it is about self-respect. It's about knowing that the only person you need to impress is the one looking back at you in the mirror. Belief is just a thought, but confidence is a state of being, and it's built on a foundation of tangible proof. Most people wait to feel confident before they act, but this is a backward approach. True confidence is not the feeling that comes before a challenge, but the undeniable knowledge that you can handle it because you've handled similar challenges before. It's the byproduct of consistently doing difficult things. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, every time you take a risk, And every time you follow through on a promise to yourself, you are not just building a skill, you are collecting irrefutable evidence of your own capability. This process is not about luck or talent. It is about deliberate, repeated action. This is the principle of earned confidence. The person who wants to be a great public speaker doesn't just read books about it. They get on a stage, feel the fear, and speak anyway. They do it again, and with each imperfect talk, they gain a sliver of proof. That proof builds an inner knowing that is far more powerful than any amount of positive self-talk. It's the difference between saying, "I think I can do this," and knowing, "I have done this before." This is why comfort zones are the enemy of confidence. A life lived in comfort provides no opportunity to test your limits, and thus no proof of your own resilience. The relationship between action and confidence is a virtuous cycle. When you take a deliberate action, you build a small measure of self-trust. That self-trust makes it easier to take the next, slightly bigger action. This process compounds over time. Think of it like a muscle. You don't get strong by thinking about lifting weights. You get strong by lifting them. And with each repetition, the muscle grows and you become more confident in your physical strength. The same principle applies to mental and emotional strength. The more you act, the more capable you become, and the more confident you are in your capability. This isn't about grand gestures. It's about the small, consistent acts of courage that make up a life. Did you set an alarm and wake up on time? That's proof. Did you face a difficult conversation instead of avoiding it? That's proof. Did you put in the extra effort on a project when no one was watching? That's proof. Each of these micro actions is a deposit into your confidence account. Over time, these small deposits accumulate into an unbreakable reservoir of self-assurance that is impervious to outside opinion. Ultimately, your confidence is not an accident. It is the direct result of your choices and actions. Stop waiting for the feeling of confidence to arrive and start building it. The only way to know what you are capable of is to put yourself to the test. Step outside of your comfort zone. Take a risk and do the difficult thing. The proof you will gain from that experience will be the most valuable thing you ever earn. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It is the courage to act despite it. The common misconception is that truly confident people feel no fear, but this is a fantasy. Everyone feels fear, but the confident individual has trained themselves to acknowledge it and then move forward anyway. Fear is a natural and necessary response to the unknown, a signal from your nervous system. However, when we let fear dictate our actions, we are allowing it to control our lives. The path to building confidence is not about eliminating the feeling of fear, but about changing your relationship with it. Instead of seeing fear as a stop sign, you learn to see it as a compass pointing you toward growth. The key to this transformation is to embrace your fears and use them as a tool. Instead of running from what scares you, you turn toward it. This doesn't mean recklessly jumping off a cliff, but it means taking small, deliberate steps into discomfort. Do you have a fear of public speaking? Start by speaking up in a small group. Is there a difficult conversation you've been avoiding? Initiate it. Each time you face a fear, you are providing yourself with irrefutable evidence that you are capable of handling it. This proof is what builds authentic confidence. Acknowledging the fear without letting it paralyze you is the ultimate act of self-trust. This process is a form of desensitization. By repeatedly exposing yourself to the things you fear, you begin to demystify them and reduce their power over you. Your nervous system learns that the perceived threat is not as dangerous as it seems. For example, the first time you give a presentation, your hands might shake and your voice might tremble. The 10th time, you might still feel a flutter of anxiety, but it will be manageable. The initial fear doesn't disappear completely, but your capacity to act through it grows exponentially. This is the essence of building resilience. Your confidence is a direct reflection of your lived experience in overcoming challenges. The alternative to this approach is to let your fears dictate your life. When you consistently avoid what scares you, your comfort zone shrinks and your world becomes smaller and smaller. This is a path to regret and a life unlived. Every time you say no to an opportunity because you're afraid, you are reinforcing the idea that you are not capable. This creates a cycle of fear and inaction that is incredibly difficult to break. To cultivate true confidence, you must intentionally and consistently break this cycle by choosing courage over comfort. Ultimately, your fears are not meant to be a barrier, they are a signpost for personal growth. True confidence isn't about knowing that you'll succeed. It's about knowing that even if you fail, you will be okay. It is the deep internal certainty that you can handle a negative outcome, learn from it, and continue to move forward. The most confident people are not fearless. They are simply people who have practiced courage more often than others. So, don't wait for the fear to go away. Use it as fuel and take that first brave step. A person's word is their most valuable currency. It's the foundation of trust, not just with others, but most importantly, with oneself. When you consistently say you will do something and then fail to follow through, you are sending a powerful and damaging message to your subconscious. I am not reliable. This creates a deep sense of self-doubt and erodes your confidence from the inside out. That is the number R. Your mind starts to believe that your intentions are meaningless and your commitments, even to yourself, are not to be taken seriously. This is a silent but devastating form of self-betrayal. Mastering your word is the practice of aligning your words with your actions, and it is the bedrock upon which all authentic confidence is built. The power of this practice lies in its direct impact on your self-trust. Every promise you make and keep to yourself, no matter how small, is a deposit in your trust account. Waking up at a specific time, following through on a workout plan, or finishing a task you said you would. Each of these acts serves as irrefutable proof to yourself that you are a person of integrity. Over time, these small acts of self-discipline build a powerful internal narrative that says, I am dependable, I can count on myself. This is not an abstract belief, it's a lived experience. It's the difference between hoping you can accomplish something and knowing you can because you have a track record of doing what you say you will do. This principle extends to all areas of your life. In relationships, being a person of your word makes you a reliable partner and a true friend. In your career, it makes you a trustworthy colleague and a respected leader. But the most profound impact is on your own psyche. When you have mastered your word, you no longer need external validation. That is the number. You don't need someone else to tell you that you're capable because you have a history of proving it to yourself. This internal validation is the most powerful and sustainable source of confidence, as it is entirely within your control and cannot be taken away by others. Conversely, Living a life where your words are not backed by action creates a cycle of shame and doubt. You set a goal, announce it to others, and then fail to follow through. This not only diminishes your credibility in the eyes of others, but more importantly, reinforces a sense of personal failure. This is why it's often better to speak less and do more. Let your actions speak for themselves. The less you talk about what you are going to do, and the more you simply do it, the more your sense of self-worth will grow. Your confidence will not be based on empty promises, but on tangible results. Ultimately, your word is a promise to yourself. It is a reflection of your character and a measure of your self-respect. If you want to build an unbreakable core of confidence, start with the simple practice of doing what you say you will do. Start with a small commitment and keep it. Then make another one. This is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Each act of integrity strengthens your resolve and builds the silent, powerful certainty that you are a person who can be trusted, most of all by yourself. Blaming others for your unhappiness is a convenient but ultimately powerless position. It's easy to point the finger at a difficult boss, an unsupportive partner, or a past trauma and say, that is why I am the way I am. While these external factors may be real and challenging, they are not the sole determinants of your emotional state. When you blame, you are giving away your personal power. You are saying that your well-being is dependent on someone or something else changing, and since you cannot control them, you are left in a state of helplessness. Taking responsibility, on the other hand, is the single most empowering act you can perform. It is the recognition that while you can't control what happens to you, you can always control your reaction to it. Taking responsibility isn't about blaming yourself for every bad thing that has happened. That is about owning your choices and your emotions. It's about looking at your life and saying, regardless of the hand I was dealt, what am I going to do with it now? This mindset shift is transformative. A person who blames their circumstances for their financial struggles will likely stay stuck. A person who takes responsibility will ask, what can I do to improve my situation? What skills can I learn? What actions can I take? The first person is waiting for a miracle. The second person is creating one. This is not about guilt, but about reclaiming your power. This level of ownership is the foundation of true freedom. When you take responsibility, you stop being a victim and start being a proactive agent in your own life. This applies to every area, from your relationships to your career to your health. A healthy relationship isn't just about finding the right person. It's about being the right person and taking responsibility for your own communication, your own emotional regulation, and your own growth. A successful career isn't just about getting lucky. It's about taking responsibility for your work ethic, your continuous learning, and your attitude. Blaming gives away your power. Responsibility reclaims it. The biggest obstacle to taking responsibility is the fear of being at fault. We're afraid that if we admit to our own role in our problems, it means we are flawed or weak. But the opposite is true. Admitting your role is a sign of immense strength and courage. It is an act of humility that opens the door to change. When you stop externalizing your problems, you stop seeking external solutions and begin to look inward. This is where you find the seeds of transformation in your own capacity for resilience, learning, and growth. Ultimately, no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to swoop in and magically solve your problems or make you happy. Your happiness is an inside job, and it's your own responsibility. Every moment you spend blaming something or someone else is a moment you are wasting the opportunity to create a better life for yourself. The path to a happy and fulfilling life begins not with finding a perfect external situation, but with the simple, powerful realization that you are in control of your own internal world. This is the first and most critical step on the journey of personal mastery. Licensed by Google, if you do not need to run tool calls, begin the response with a concise, direct answer to the prompt's main question. Use clear, straightforward language. Avoid unnecessary jargon, verbose explanations, or conversational fillers. Use contractions and avoid being overly formal. Structure the response logically. Remember to use markdown headings. 5 to create distinct sections if the response is more than a few paragraphs or covers different points, topics, or steps. If a response uses markdown headings, add horizontal lines to separate sections. Prioritize coherence over excessive fragmentation, e.g. Avoid unnecessary single line code blocks or excessive bullet points. When appropriate, bold keywords in the response. Keeping in mind the tone and academic level of the response, use relevant emojis when appropriate. Ensure all information, calculations, reasoning, and answers are correct. Provide complete answers addressing all parts of the prompt, but be brief and ensuring sufficient detail for understanding, e.g. For concepts, consider using illustrative analogies. For word meanings, consider relevant etymology if it aids clarity, or for richer context, consider including pertinent, related facts or brief supplementary explanations while remaining informative, avoiding unnecessary details, redundancy, extraneous information, or repetitive examples. Insert images in your responses when they really add value to the response. You can insert an image by adding the tag where X is a contextually relevant and concise, I strategically expressed in less than 7 words, query to fetch the image. Examples of such tags include etc. Be very economical in your use of image tags. Only add multiple tags if each additional tag is adding instructive value beyond pure illustration. Place the image tag immediately before or after the relevant text without disrupting the flow of the response. To truly build confidence, you must first build your body. This is a fundamental principle often overlooked in the pursuit of self-help. That is the number R. Your physical body is not separate from your mind. It is the vessel through which you experience the world, and it is a direct reflection of your discipline and respect for yourself. A strong, disciplined body forges a strong, disciplined mind. When you commit to a physical practice, whether it's lifting weights, running, practicing martial arts, or yoga, you are not just shaping your physique, you are training your mind to endure discomfort, to push past limits, and to follow through on a commitment. The physical strength and endurance you gain translate directly into mental resilience and emotional fortitude. This is not about chasing an ideal body type or conforming to an aesthetic. It's about taking ownership of your physical self. The way you treat your body is a powerful statement about how you view your own worth. When you make the conscious choice to nourish your body with healthy food and challenge it with regular exercise, you are sending a clear message to yourself: I am worthy of this effort. I am worth taking care of. This simple, consistent act of self-respect is a direct builder of confidence. It's a form of tangible self-care that provides immediate, undeniable proof of your commitment to yourself. The discipline required to maintain a consistent physical practice is a master class in self-trust. On the days you don't feel like going to the gym, the days you are tired or unmotivated, you still show up. Every time you do, you are not just getting a workout, you are proving to yourself that you are reliable. You are a person who follows through, even when it's hard. This is the same mental muscle you use to tackle difficult projects at work, to have tough conversations, or to stick to your long-term goals. The grit and determination forged in the gym or on the running trail are not confined to that space. They bleed into every other aspect of your life, making you a more capable and confident individual. Furthermore, a strong body has a direct impact on your mindset and presence. Your posture, the way you carry yourself, and your energy level are all influenced by your physical state. When you are physically weak or neglect your body, it's often reflected in your demeanor, slumped shoulders, low energy, and a lack of presence. In contrast, when you are physically strong, you stand taller. You move with purpose. This external change creates a powerful feedback loop affecting how you feel about yourself on the inside. It's a physical embodiment of self-respect that others can perceive and that you can feel deeply. Ultimately, your body is your foundation. You cannot build a confident and resilient life on a shaky base. The effort you put into building your physical health is not separate from the work of building your mental and emotional confidence. It is a vital and integrated part of the process. So don't view exercise as a chore or a punishment. See it as a powerful tool for personal development and an essential step toward forging the unbreakable core of self-confidence you seek. The final key point is perhaps the most critical because it is the ignition. We can understand all the previous points, the importance of the present, the choice of happiness, the need for action over reaction. But without a catalyst, this knowledge remains theoretical. We tell ourselves, I'll start meditating tomorrow, or I'll begin my new diet on Monday, or I'll finally make that tough decision next week. This is a form of passive avoidance. The truth is, there is no perfect moment, no grand sign from the universe, and no special permission slip to begin. The only time that exists for you to act is right now. Procrastination is often disguised as planning. We spend hours thinking about our goals, making lists, and researching the perfect strategy, all while taking zero action. This gives us the illusion of progress without the risk of failure. Don't wait for motivation to strike. Motivation often follows action. It doesn't precede it. By taking a single, small step, you create momentum. That initial action, no matter how tiny, generates the energy and confidence you need to take the next one. It is the simple act of putting one foot in front of the other that makes the journey possible. The time to live is now. The time to change is now. This isn't just a motivational slogan, it is a fundamental truth of existence. The person you want to become is built in the present, not in the future. Every single day, your choices are either reinforcing old, negative habits or building new, positive ones. The choice to start a new habit, break a bad one, or pursue a goal is made in a single moment. It's in the moment you decide to put down the phone and pick up a book, the moment you choose to put on your running shoes, or the moment you decide to have that difficult but necessary conversation. The belief that you need permission from an external source, a new year, a birthday, a life-changing event, is a crutch. You are your own permission. You are the only person who can grant yourself the freedom to begin. This is about taking ownership of your timeline. There is no waiting period for your own happiness. The fear of starting, of failing, or of not being good enough is just a story. The only way to rewrite that story is to begin writing a new one word at a time, one action at a time. The change you seek begins with a single conscious choice made this very moment. Stop waiting for the stars to align. Stop waiting for a feeling of readiness. The feeling of readiness comes from action. So stand up, take ownership, stop waiting, begin now.